the enormous bridge on the moon in the area of Rainbow Bay. Are there artificial structures on the moon? In thousands of images, we can easily distinguish craters or rock formations on the moon's surface, but there is one structure that more than clearly dominates and stands out from the rest of the environment around it. They call it the golden handle, and if you look at the picture of it, it really looks like a handle, or in my opinion, more like a bridge of enormous length. There are many who have encountered it through their telescopes, in videos, or in images, and clearly they are wondering who built the enormous long bridge on the moon. We'll try to answer the question. Sending Sinus Iridum. This is an area on the moon that is better known by its poetic name, Bay of Rainbows. It's a 260-kilometer wide gulf that does not contain water. If you have a good telescope and are in the northern hemisphere, late winter to early spring is the best time of year to observe it. If you haven't, I'll try to take you to a place where imagination for centuries spreads its wings and flies like another Pegasus, a flying horse. Rainbow Bay is filled with basaltic lavas in dozens of small craters, the largest of which is 8 kilometers wide. The movement of the moon and the sun's rays create an amazing spectacle of mesmerizing and literally fantastic performances between dark and light, with some features of the complex geology of the landscape becoming much sharper than they are, while others sink into an abyss of darkness of shadows. The golden rays of the sun slowly caress the wrinkled ground that seems to depict a great sea in which a breeze blows the waves to and fro, the haunting figure of a mermaid who stirs the sea. Cape Heraclitus is one that strongly resembles the profile of a woman's face, and indeed of a winged mermaid, her plaited hair blown by the wind, flowing westward, a mirage also known as the Moon Maiden. The imaginary waves don't stop until dawn. The moon turns and the sun's rays play with the imaginary sheep to lead you to Cape Laplace, which seems to cast subtle shadows strongly reminiscent of shark's teeth. The two headlands from the ends of the Jura Range, a ring, a curve of tangled peaks that define the bay itself. The geomorphology of the terrain is such that the sun dawns on the moon. What you see from Earth is the Laplace limb beginning to catch the light of the lunar dawn first. And as the hours pass, more and more of the commanding curve of the Jura Range lights up to Cape Heraclitus. Now the entire curve is bathed in bright sunlight, even as most of the flat bay remains in darkness. When the mountain peaks catch the light and the entire bay begins to stand out from the darkness, the curve stands out as a hilt full of glittering jewels, as British astronomy popularizer Patrick Moore described it in 1953. Since then, this feature is known as the golden handle, although in my imagination it looks more like a golden bridge. Upon seeing it, two striking thoughts come to mind: that it might be a huge bridge compared to the diameter of the moon, or that it might be a tall giant entrance to its interior. So therefore, the answer to the question, who built the huge bridge on the moon, is the particular geomorphology of the area, which the light and shadows have been giving for decades and or centuries, a series of paranoias, wrong estimates in combination with everyone's imagination. Many an amateur astronomer is confronted with the golden handle or the bridge, and very quickly the same imagination that distinguishes Moore, as well as many others, leads to and traps them to conclusions that what they say they see a handle, a pot lid handle, a bridge, and whatever else anyone calls it, is artificial and made by some extraterrestrials or an earlier cycle of humans. However, it's simply a curved ridge that is brightly lit by the sun's light. So, for the writing of the article, data from the astronomy and sky and telescope orb were used without scientific terms and geological descriptions, but with a poetic mood. You can also watch a video entitled Cave Entrance on Moon, and where through a telescope shows what we call the bridge. In reality, however, there is no bridge. If we compare the Sinus Iridium era that the official image video highlights, we will find that the bridge is simply part of the rim of a crater, which is reflected by sunlight, thus giving us the illusion of a handle or bridge. Also, you can see the disputed point there as well. And this is from a Greek article I've translated for you. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.